Nobody's listening, right? Hello, Andy.
Hi.
I'm so excited to talk with you for an hour as if no one's listening.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious, though. Are any ears out there hearing us?
Yes. Anyone? We got a new nobody.
What?
This is from Jen on Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
After listening to Elizabeth on Garbage World, where I found her to be funny and delightful, I made my way to this podcast. I'm smitten. The charming duo make me laugh and give me strength as I commute to and from a job I don't like. Now I'm enjoying going through the archives. I wish I would have found them sooner. Thanks, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
Nothing
Thank
like
you,
a
Jen.
new listener. That feels good.
Yes. And being on Garbage World, which is Casey Wilson and Danielle Schneider's empire.
Yeah.
I get to go on there and talk about the show Sister Wives with Casey and June Raphael.
Yep.
And we have the time of our lives. Now, I have a lot of fun with you too, Andy.
But not as much fun as that show. So go check out all their episodes.
When you're talking about Cody and the gals.
Yeah.
And now just the one gal.
Cody and the gal.
Cody and the gal. It kind of, the script writes itself.
Yeah.
Whereas you and I are just free-balling out here.
Cody probably free balls. He seems like a free baller.
He definitely free balls. He's unshod.
He is unshod in many ways.
In so many ways.
Ooh, yeah.
Ew. Sorry to be so gross. And also, to each their own. But one thing about sex is, I know how you feel about this. If someone's having multiple partners, you would want them to wrap it up.
Or wash it off.
Or I guess. But if you're talking to a friend and they're like, I'm hopping from box to box, it's like you're using rubbers, right?
Protection?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And you know what I'm talking about, don't you always say wrap it up.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Okay. I don't know if I understand exactly the point that you're trying to make.
Going from wife to wife to wife.
But they're all his wife.
I know, but to know that, and I'm guessing it's probably uncut. Not that, you got to take extra care. Going from wife to wife is really a lot to deal with.
Well, this is the thing. Now I think I have a clear idea of where you're getting at. My confusion was, are you saying you're worried about a risk of STDs? Because these are all your wives. That's not,
no,
you're just talking about
schmegma.
Okay, for one, I don't even think you actually even really understand what schmegma is now.
I don't.
But maybe you do. I don't. Come on. Let's keep going here.
Okay. What subject would you like to discuss today, Andrew? Does it have something to do with medieval art or some scientific discoveries about the genesis of flowers, or I'm trying to think of really highfalutin.
I do have one thing that I wanted to tell you that I hadn't told you yet, because as we mentioned last week, I went to the zoo to cover the Betty White stamp thing.
Yes.
While I was leaving that event, I'm walking out with, this was like a big guy, head honcho-y type guy. I think maybe in their marketing department or something. And he looked like a lion. I shit you not, this man. Okay?
He had a beard?
Beard, big long hair, looked like a lion.
Is he with the zoo or is he with the United States Postal Service?
This guy was with the zoo, and he even said, I got to head back to my engagement or something like which I was like, that's a great zoo joke.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm walking with him and we're getting close to the flamingos, and for whatever reason, I have a soft spot for flamingos. I think my Aunt Barb really loves flamingos.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so maybe that's the connection.
I thought your love for flamingos was born from when the kids were really little. You took them to the zoo and you guys spent a lot of time at the Flamingos, and you had a real special connection with one flamingo named Nancy.
Yeah, and I said that like I would hang out with Nancy.
And then Nancy has remained part of our lives ever since.
Yes. So I'm intrigued when this man says, you guys want to hear a great flamingo story? I'm saying,
Yes?
yeah. So he said that flamingos only mate when they feel safe. Okay?
Word.
Which that seems to make all sorts of sense. When they feel most safe is when there's strength in numbers, when there's like a lot of flamingos, right? So if you're a zoo and you're like, how many flamingos should we get? There's like a number that you gotta...
It's a magic number. You want to get over 20.
Exactly. Something like that.
Also,
Otherwise,
they're
they're all
all-
going to just die out.
And they, oh, really?
Well, I mean, they're just not going to, you're not going to have a continuation of them.
Oh, because there are no flamingo eggs?
Yeah, they're birds.
And also, I'm sure the safety in numbers has something to do with, like, you need a fellow flamingo body to, like, put your body weight against if there's danger, because they're only on one leg.
Is that true?
Yeah.
They're only ever, I know what the pose you're talking about,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're always like that.
They're pretty much always on one leg. Okay.
I don't know if you're fucking with me or if you're being very earnest.
Oh, I'm being earnest.
Okay.
But the truth is, I don't know.
That's what I thought. Okay. That makes more sense. Anyways, the story goes that there was like a hurricane coming to somewhere in Florida, right?
Okay.
And so this zoo is making preparations for all the different animals and whatnot, figuring out where they're going to put all the animals,
think about
right?
If that's your job. That's stressful.
Sure.
Like, think about that person's job.
Yes. So they came up with an idea. Flamingos, we're going to put them in that restroom over there. So like a public restroom, right? So you imagine it's like a bigger restroom. They put sand down in there and a bunch of stuff. Like they got it ready for some big hurricane that's coming.
Okay.
So they put them in there, zoo closes, whatever. I don't know all the details, but they, the flamingos are in there for a
They
little
just
bit
hope
of
and
time.
pray. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? Well, they come back and to their surprise, there's a bunch of nests getting ready for whatever. So they deduce like, oh, the flamingos were fucking while we were gone, right? Because they made these nests or something getting ready.
Hang on. I'm so sorry. I have to know if they have sex on one leg.
Okay. I mean, of course. But I don't think you could do that. And if you could, wow.
Okay, so the male mounts her from behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it does look like in this specific instance, mostly because there's a male on her full back,
Mm-hmm.
there are two legs down. You're going to need two legs. I mean, wow.
It just like cut off when you showed me.
It.
I swear it did. And then it like reloaded. Okay, bring back. Wait, why is it so high up on her? What? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't make...
Do you want to describe what it is?
Wait, this is so funny. Didn't even
It's like a
occur.
picture of a flamingo like standing on top of a female. Like
Okay, this
2
makes
feet.
more sense. This makes more sense.
Whoa, what? Wait, where's its head? Wait, what?
The female's head is down.
Like its head's all the way down on the ground.
Yeah, this is like in a
The flamingo's not even the one.
this is like
the
a
man's
Cirque
not
du
even.
Soleil porn here, where the woman's like doing a full pancake down.
Okay, but
I encourage everyone to, you know what, and don't even use a private browser
Yeah.
the way I just didn't. Google how
is the male flamingo's legs even on the ground? He just
No.
seems like he's on top.
exactly
Balancing.
He's balancing, and that's why she needs two legs down, one for each bird.
And her head down too. I'm guessing you can't see, but her head's probably touching the ground too, like a tripod. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you would think.
Wow. Okay. Ugh. Okay. Anyways. Okay.
Don't get me started on peacocks.
Okay. So this happens, and
So
they're
there are
like, holy
nests.
shit, they were fucking while we were gone.
And-
Why were they fucking? They're asking themselves.
Okay, can I ask a few questions?
Yes.
How long were they away?
I don't know the answer. I wish I did.
And is flamingos, because lots of birds build nests,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know it necessarily meant because it's like a postcoital activity.
I don't even know if that's exactly it either. The story was, though, they knew they had been mating. There was clear evidence, and it had something to do with nests in the bathroom. Okay?
I want to make a joke about little flamingo condoms. They found. all... Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, any guesses as to why the fucking went up when they're in this bathroom as opposed to when they're normal?
It's a smaller space.
That's what I thought.
But that's also like humans, when you're like holed up and also you feel like the world's about to end. I mean, it might be just a primal thing.
Well, that is not the hypothesis, my friend.
Okay.
It was the mirrors. They thought there were way more flamingos in there.
It wasn't because
they were
freaky.
Yeah, exactly.
Get on my back. Let's see what this looks like. Now I'm going to put my head down. Oh my gosh, that's so fascinating.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow, that's very cool.
I know. Anyways, that's all I got.
Wow. So what a great thing that they now know. If let's say there's a zoo who has a low budget,
mm-hmm.
and they just bought a prized tiger, and they don't have the budge for the amount of flamingos that it would take,
mm-hmm.
just for nighttime, put them in an area where there are lots of mirrors.
Throw up a bunch of mirrors.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
Really fascinating. Also, I have to say, kudos to this Florida zoo
mm-hmm.
for having a lot of mirrors in a bathroom. A lot of public type restrooms around here,
mm-hmm.
there aren't really mirrors.
What
There's maybe
are you talking. You're talking out of your ass.
There are plenty of public restrooms where there are no mirrors.
What are you talking about? Are women's bathrooms mirrorless or something?
Sometimes
man's bathroom is, I would say, 90% of the time adequately equipped with mirrors.
Oh.
And if I think about a zoo bathroom, like a big public restroom, it's a huge
long
one
mirror
thing of mirrors.
Well,
like
good.
A huge wall above the sink.
Did you use the bathroom at the LA Zoo?
I didn't have to go.
Okay.
But can you envision when you go into a public restroom at like a zoo, above the sinks, the whole thing's mirrors? Is that not how it is for women?
No, it sometimes is, but sometimes it's real low, bare bones.
I hate to dwell on this, but I'm going to have to be really firm on this. I think you're really talking out of your ass here.
No, I've definitely been in public restrooms that are sketchy.
Okay, so at a restaurant or a bar or something maybe?
No, like out in the world, like at the cabin by the lake. Does that restroom have any mirrors?
Oh,
no.
That's more of a Forest Service type restroom.
Okay.
And to that, usually there is a mirror, but maybe not as many mirrors.
There are no mirrors.
None.
And then actually there was a place I went to at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
No mirrors. And I wonder if it has something to do with not wanting people to break them and use the mirror glass to
you think in
cut something.
Lake or beach, you think there's going to be people with exposed toes and whatnot.
Right.
Maybe we don't want those breaking.
Right. Wow. Flamingos. Who knew?
Who would have thunk it or known it?
Do you have any other fun, you would have been surprised to learn this about animals?
Yes. Wait. Yes. Are you messing with me?
No.
I have something perfect.
You do?
Yeah. This is almost going to feel like we produced this. I swear we didn't.
Well, I'm asking because our son's doing a project on animals.
Mm-hmm.
And here he had to make, what was that called, a diorama, and he did that. He did the report. He's very smart.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the students who finished early were told to go learn about another animal.
Okay.
And so he was telling me about, and I've never even seen these, It's pink fairy armadillos. And oh, they're so cute. They kind of look like worms,
Okay.
but very cute still. And there are only like a couple hundred left, and they don't survive captivity. But he was telling me about a man who spent 13 years searching for a pink armadillo, fairy armadillo.
Jesus.
And he never found it.
Oh.
He didn't find it.
It's like a Moby Dick of pink armadillos.
Yeah. So what's your thing?
Damn, that's sort of sad. Okay, it's about how long animals... Oh, those are kind of cool looking.
It looks like a dick.
Okay.
Wait,
We're
Andy,
this is like too much like
Okay, you're
like
right.
animal sex stuff.
Look at that.
It does look like a penis. Yes, it does. Okay. All right. Okay, this is just almost like a quick quiz for you. I'm making up the quiz as we go, but I was looking at this video this morning about how long different animals sleep every day.
Oh.
Okay, so
great.
what do you think sleeps longer, a duck or a fish?
Duck.
And how many hours a night?
Oh, they sleep at night?
Or I don't know, in the 24-hour cycle, how many hours?
Also, are they just floating around sleeping?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Just what? How many hours does a duck sleep in a day?
9.
11. And a fish is 7. So you're right there. What do you think sleeps more, a cow or a dog?
Dog.
You would be correct there. Cows only sleep 4 hours, where a dog's more like 13 hours. Wow. Lazy. Okay. How about one more? An owl versus a bat.
Bat.
Good. Bat's 20 hours. Owl is about 12.5. And the last one is a lion or a cat.
Oh.
A lion or a cat.
Well, I was going to say felines sleep a lot.
Yeah, so a lion or a cat.
This is tough.
Okay.
Like a house cat?
Yes. A domesticated
house cat.
You were wrong there. A domesticated cat sleeps for 15 hours. A lion sleeps for 19 hours.
Whoa.
You're the king of the fucking jungle and you ain't doing shit.
Yeah, that's true. Good for you.
But that makes sense that they're like one of the only things in the jungle that could sleep that long. Because
I know,
like
they
no
don't
one's
have
fucking with them.
predators. I mean, they do have predators. Don't they?
I don't know. I thought they were the king of the jungle.
I think you're right.
Oh, and okay, one last one. This is very interesting. Okay, an elephant or a shark?
Elephant.
Sleeps 2 hours a night. A shark sleeps, want to guess?
0.
0.1. Well done. You're always smarter than I think you're going to be. And it always makes me prideful. Prideful? Proud.
Sure.
And it always makes me proud.
That's so nice. Thanks, I think.
Yeah, no. It's real.
That's like, I feel like I've had friends go, you are so photogenic. And like looking through pictures like, oh my God.
Oh my God, how are you like that? Like, how are you so photogenic?
No, but it's more like you're so photogenic, and meaning like you look so much better in these pictures than you do in real life.
It's I love those.
Classic.
They're called
backhanded compliments.
It's kind of like a backhanded one.
So do you want to hear the details that I haven't told you yet about how I avoided within an inch of my life joining a cult?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So our child really, really, really wanted to take some Tai Chi.
How did I miss all of this?
I have no idea. Basically, I think he's been looking for what he wants to do.
Yeah, respect.
One of his best friends does karate.
Mm-hmm.
Karate.
Yeah.
And goes to a dojo nearby that we took the kids to when they were teeny tiny.
Oh, yeah.
And I do have to say, I mean, of course, he was like 2 or 3, but it wasn't Otis's thing.
Okay.
And so then I was like, oh, would you want to do karate like so-and-so? And he was like, no. And I think that got him on the kind of martial arts
Okay.
wagon wheel. And then he landed on wanting to do Tai Chi,
Okay.
which if anyone has a lead for like Tai Chi classes for kids or just Tai Chi classes where kids can go in Los Angeles, I'd love to hear it because the one lead I had turns out to be not our kind of place. So I looked pretty hard to find, and I found one in kind of an obscure area, and I thought, okay, I call, and I should have trusted my first kind of doop
Spidey sense.
Spidey sense.
Yeah.
But the woman was very, very nice. But I got the sense she was driving, and it was like she like pulled over to
Like she needs this customer.
Yes, and said, and also English is her second language, and some of her English was very hard to understand. So there was some stuff getting lost in translation.
What kind of questions are you asking?
Well, I said, is it okay if my son and I come and take a trial class?
Okay.
Now, first of all, on the website, it's like you can take a free trial class.
Okay.
She said, yes, you two can come, but you have to do an introductory lesson.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And it was $80.
Per person or for both of you together?
For both of us. And it's private. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's fine. And then if we want to take the classes, then we can.
Okay. I'm already so disappointed because I know, yeah, I just
crossed your arms.
I just got really upset with you because I know a small detail of the punchline of this story, but I don't have answers to the punchline, which I'm going to get now, but I'm getting a little.
Listen, I do want to say this. We're not overly burdened with disposable income right now.
No, not at all.
However, it was very, very hard for me to find somewhere where we could try the Tai Chi. And this kid versus our other kid who's doing all these activities and classes, like the amount of money we spent on classes, that's how I justified this.
Okay, yeah. So I did not know this though. So this first thing, you did pay for this first thing?
Yes.
Okay, so you signed up for a private.
Yeah.
Essentially.
An introductory. And what I thought that meant was that she was going, and then she says she's the teacher. And I'm like, okay. And then I said, well, can we pay for the class after the class or when we get there? And she said, no, I'll take your information now. So
Wait
she
a
takes
minute. What information?
My credit card. So.
Oh my God, Elizabeth. What the fuck? I hope you're watching that credit card account like a fucking hawk.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have you know a couple things. One is I am learning my lesson. I've learned it. You don't give your credit card over the phone ever anymore?
It is so rare.
Well, trust that it's rare for me too. But I called the number to the Tai Chi place. It's like, has a presence online. There are Google reviews and stuff.
Oh, there's a website?
So I'm speaking to her. She's going to teach. Like, she was very accommodating and asking questions. But I also thought an introductory class means like she's going to be teaching us like basics that we will need to know to take classes.
Uh-huh.
So then she texts right after with the receipt.
Uh-huh.
Okay. That makes you feel any better. And then she texts me the information for the class the day before the class. She texts me like I'm looking.
What's the receipt? Like this, it makes me feel worse for some reason. Oh yeah, and here's your receipt. Thank you.
Oh no, she did send me anyway. But I will say all of the business, and I actually do need to check my credit card statement now. Like the business element of it was very kind of confusing and over the top.
Yeah.
I found it weird that she wanted to take my credit card information and like needed my payment a week before we're going in or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's what we've just been kind of feeling out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we get there. It's in like a strip mall. Fine.
Yeah, that's where this should be.
It's definitely unlike the kind of hipster Pilates and yoga studios that I'm used to in LA.
Uh-huh.
It's much more almost feels more like community center-y.
That totally tracks with what I would imagine a Tai Chi place would be.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But I get there and our teacher, I'm going to call her Joy, welcomes us. And it's so interesting because our kid like can sense things, just shuts down in like such an instant way where he had been so excited.
Yeah.
But she first like has us pull up chairs to the desk that is like also the office.
Yeah.
And starts to ask us questions that seem not relevant at all. And to the degree that I'm like,
what's your address? What's your social security number? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, come on. For
Address,
real though.
not social security number.
She asked for the address.
Yeah.
What? Do you hear yourself?
Well, Andy, we're there.
I would be like, why the fuck do you need my address?
Well, she's entering it all because she's having us sign like waivers. First of all, she has me fill out paperwork and sign a waiver. And it's also like kind of medical. It's like, do you have any of these ailments and stuff
I guess
like
I can
that?
sort of see that.
It's one of these like blend places. And I start looking around.
What's a blend place?
It's like
A shared community spot?
It's not an exercise place. It's a wellness center.
So is she the landlord and this is all Tai Chi, or are there a bunch of people doing stuff out of this space, different things?
She's the only human being I saw.
Okay.
So she has us fill out this paperwork. Then she's like chatting with us to the degree I'm like, are we actually going to do Tai Chi? I got my son was so stoked to come and try Tai Chi. Okay. So we then go into the room and it is like a huge, cool room meant for Tai Chi and yoga and stuff like that. It has this like spongy floor that's very cool. And so we go and we start doing it. But I'm like really confused by what we're doing. There's very little explanation. There was a lot of stuff about, I think it was tensai or something, which is the energy being in our core, which is basically like the area between your belly button and your pubic bone.
I thought the core was I thought of it as bigger than that.
I think it's bigger too. But anyway, that's what she's having us focus on and we're doing. I'm like, are we learning anything? Basically, I felt very duped. Like I paid $80 for us to take this Tai Chi kind of class, but I'm like, is this what a class is?
Yeah.
There's no information being shared. I don't know. It was really odd. I did enjoy kind of the flow of it, but I was checking in on Otis and I was like, is he okay? And to his credit, he like went with it and did a really good job. And she was very effusively like, good job, giving him compliments about like following it. Yeah. But then there was like a lot of hands-on stuff. And we were on mats at this point in time. And
mats on top of Squishy?
Yes, mats on top of Squishy. And it was weird because we were like feet to feet. Okay?
You and our
Otis.
son?
Yes.
Okay.
So I couldn't like keep my eyes on him.
I see what you mean. Yeah, sure.
And she was coming to each of us and like putting her hands on, basically where my womb area is.
Where's that?
Like above my pubic bone, underneath my belly button, the core area.
Yeah.
And we're doing these breathing exercises. But then she goes over to Otis and is doing that. And I look up and from my vantage point, she's like way too close to his private area.
Got it. Okay.
And I sat there and in my head, I'm going, like, I truly, genuinely do not believe that she meant for that to be the case. I don't think she was like trying anything here.
But your mom instinct was like,
my mom instinct was like, no. And also I'm almost embarrassed that I even had to have this inner conversation with myself. But I was thinking, I'm uncomfortable. Is saying something going to make Otis more uncomfortable? Is he uncomfortable? And then I was like, no, if my kids are ever feeling uncomfortable, I want to model for them that it's always okay to say. So I said, please move your hands up. And she was like, oh, is there a reason why? And I said, because they're too low.
Mm.
And then she was like, is this okay? And I said, yeah, I wish I had just said, can you please not touch him? But in the moment, I was like, the whole experience was kind of throwing me for a loop.
Yeah.
So we finish it up, and then she was like, Otis, you can like play around here. I'm going to talk to your mom. And I thought, oh no, is this going to be about that or what? And we go outside, and this is when the sales pitch starts. And I'm looking around, and the signage, a lot of it doesn't sit quite right with me. There's a lot of stuff about like, if you're feeling tiredness, pain, things like that, it could be that your body's like healing emotional stuff through this Tai Chi or yoga or whatever it is.
Okay.
But I'm like, what if someone's feeling tiredness and pain because they have fucking cancer? And they're coming here and they're reading the sign and going, oh, that's what it is. I'm just like, my body's getting used to Tai Chi.
But they're saying if you're feeling that after you do a Tai Chi workout. They're not just saying in life in general.
It seemed to be like life in general. And it was like, please tell one of our practitioners so that they can diagnose if it's you doing Tai Chi or if it's something more serious.
Now, am I right to assume that practitioners is one practitioner? Or we don't know?
We don't know.
Okay.
So this is where I'm a little hung up on it, and I want to ask your advice. So she's talking to me, and then she was like, so you can get a month pass or you can get this. It's like $300. And I was like,
God.
No, my head is spinning.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I want to talk to him about it and see if it's something we want to do.
That's the move.
And then she said, or you could sign up for a trial class, which is $25 each. And I was like, okay. Because I wanted to see in my mind, I was like, let's see what a class is.
Well, this is the punchline that I'm referring to. This is all I know of the story is you came home and you told me about the bad experience.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but we signed up for a class. And so I've been waiting. Why did you sign up for the class?
Because I'm fucking weak.
But it seems like you had the perfect out when you said let me check in with him and figure it out. Was it just like, was she super pressure?
No. She also had me staying there because she was like, okay, I need you to sign this paperwork. I'm like, I don't even know. This was not my finest hour. And I signed stuff. I don't know what I signed. Like, it was all very weird. But since then, I've been getting emails.
Okay.
And I hit unsubscribe. And it sent an email, like it drafted an email for me that said, please unsubscribe me from this. And I sent and I pressed send and I was like, okay, I guess this is how they do it. And I get an email back that says, Elizabeth, you can unsubscribe. Just scroll down to the bottom and hit the thing that says unsubscribe. And I wrote back, I did that. And when I did, it drafted this email. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This place is like, there's too much paperwork. There's too much going on. I really do think it's like a cult maybe. But now I've paid for the class, and because I'm cheap, I'm like, I kind of want to go see, or do we just eat it?
I think the only reason you go is if it was for your own curiosity to see like the whole class and get a vibe, but I wouldn't take our son.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not going.
But
yeah.
This is so interesting. I do understand. I don't want you to feel like I'm coming down on you for being weak.
Listen,
I understand the peer pressure. Or I understand the sales pitch. We've all been in that situation. I think how you and I are different, though, when that starts really getting thrust upon me, I'm like,
you go the opposite direction.
The opposite way. Like I start really doubting it, and I'm like, oh, I really gotta. I'm so sorry. I gotta think about this.
You know what? In my mind, you going, why did you do the $50 thing? I almost just felt like it was worth the $50 to not have to deal with anything. which I know is not true. But in that
Yeah.
moment where I was like, I want to get Otis out of here. This feels like, a lot was getting lost in translation. It was hard to communicate.
Sure.
And have you ever belonged to a gym?
I've never, no.
It
But
really
it's a high stakes
reminded
salesy.
me.
Yeah.
It
I've heard of that.
really, and in fact, I had a flashback to when I was much, much, much younger. It might have even been in New York, or I don't remember, but I went to do a trial, like to try out a gym. You get a free pass for a week and you get one training session.
Yeah.
The training session guy clearly was so trained himself to make me feel like shit.
Yeah.
And they do your body fat and stuff. And by the way, I mean, my mindset has changed immensely since then, but I was very much in the like, I want to be skinny, having body fat is bad. And he was like, so you're obese. And I was like, oh, I don't think I am. Am I? And he's like, yes, you were technically in the obese range. And then he would have me do, and clearly could tell that bummed me out.
Right.
And kept harping on it. And like, well, obesity is blah, 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 and giving me all these stats and stuff. And then the exercises, if I could do them, he would like basically make them exponentially harder and be like, that's what I thought. See,
right. You need to join this gym. I'll get you in shape, right? Like I'll get you where you want to be.
Had me in my car crying after this.
I'm sorry, that sucks.
But then you sign up and it is like you're in a fucking car place sitting down, come to the office with me. I'm like signing my life away. And then if you want to quit, it's goddamn nightmare. That's why I don't see myself ever joining a gym again because it's just you're in it for life. So this had that vibe.
What was the cult aspect of all of this, though, besides the signage?
The signage and this, like the paperwork of it, and that like I'm used to places where you get a class pass and you show up for a day. And
you felt like you were getting roped into something
way
more than
bigger.
You wanted to. Right.
I just want to take my kid to some fucking Tai Chi classes.
Now, so did you pay for the $50 class right then and there? And how did you pay for it?
My credit card.
But how? Did she run it on like a Square machine or something?
Yes.
Or was she like, oh, great, I have it on file, I'll charge it?
No, she ran it.
Okay, that's at least kind of good.
I trust her. This is all also like, I don't think like the hand placement thing, I don't think there was anything nefarious.
Yeah.
I think she was just there trying to do her best, honestly. But I think her understanding of, this might have been like her first week. I have no idea. Like there was too much. Maybe she just had a big talking to, like, we're going to have to close down if you don't bring in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think more likely it's more what you're saying about the gym, or even when we have signed our kids up for karate, sometimes those places are like, all right, well, here are your options. And it's like, Jesus, I got to sign up for that. You know what I mean? Like there is always this like, which I guess in some regards you got to respect people who are trying to make a living and whatnot. But when it gets overly salesy and like complicated to wrap your head around and feels a little predatory, it's uncomfortable.
It was such a shame because Otis and I both enjoyed the like flow part of the Tai Chi, and I could see it being so wonderful for him. And he loves how like calming it was. But I mean, we got in the car and he was like, that was weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a great way of saying it. That was weird.
I don't think you go back.
I think you're right.
And
I think we move on.
And I guess you just eat it.
Yep.
Damn.
I know.
That's insane.
But I knew you'd appreciate me feeling like I almost joined a cult. Listen, I could have been out $300.
Well, that is the thing. It is kind of amazing sometimes that you haven't really made some big blunders like this.
I don't like that feeling, though. And it bums me out that even at 45 and even like on behalf of our kid, that feeling of you're kind of getting pushed into something. And I'm calibrating as I'm going, like what is the cost benefit analysis here of doing this? Or, and not to over dramatize this, but it has a feeling similar to the voiceover coach I went to in New York, who I paid thousands of dollars to him to what I found out later was grooming me to assault me, and never was teaching me. I thought about him the other day and I got so fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I had something happen recently in work where there was a project getting set up and a man said something stupid. I don't think he meant anything by it, but it ruined the whole project. And in the case of the voiceover coach, I was like, not just me, but there were, 40 to 60 other women that I knew of who could have had, some of them did go on to have careers in voiceover, which hats off to them. For me, it just stopped it in the tracks.
Yeah.
But could have had careers in voiceover instead of this guy using all of us and taking our money while he did it.
It's horrible.
But very different from this experience, but the similar kind of spidey sense as you're going along the way of, I don't like this, but I'm overthinking it and I should trust this person.
But you had that weird feeling. I know what you mean. You had the weird feeling, and then you also probably I don't want to offend them too if I don't sign up for a class. This, yeah.
Yes.
I think in many ways you did a lot right. I obviously am a little bummed
That's very generous of you.
About the money part. But I think getting back to just role modeling for the kids, I do think it's so important to, if you do feel weird, say something and try to also do it in a way almost with confidence, so then that your kid doesn't feel weird about it. Because I think it is good for them to see us putting up boundaries when we're like, oh no, that's not right, or taking care of stuff.
Well, actually, speaking of the voiceover coach, that was his whole thing. And that was me going, oh, I can't, him pushing these boundaries. And it was and one thing, oh, you need to sound sexy to sell this. And another thing, to sound sexy, you have to feel sexy.
Right.
And 3 classes later, can you just kind of rub your body while you're doing it? Make yourself feel sexy. And it escalated and escalated. Every step of the way, I'm thinking I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
His whole thing though was you have to be uncomfortable to make progress.
Well, this is a predator that's grooming and that has done this before. He has his whole roadmap, sort of.
Yes, but it bummed me out that I even had to have that after having that experience and many others.
Yeah.
Where I'm uncomfortable and I want to say something, but I don't. That I even, when it comes to my kids, that I would even pause for a second.
Well, I also think it must be just in general, being a woman in the world, you're at a much bigger deficit with that stuff too, feeling probably your whole life, it's probably been harder to speak up than maybe my experience, right? If we're just talking, the world.
For sure, yeah.
And that being said, though, I think it's good that all this is obviously bothering you and whatnot. And then when you think about it, your kids, I just think the more examples we can give to our kids of us both doing it, the more normalized it is for them later to be oh yeah, no, I'm not cool with that.
Right.
And almost, but in a way that's diffused of the weirdness that we're feeling, right?
Yes.
It's almost just with a confidence. That's I can say one thing that I've really taken from my mom growing up. If something was wrong, say in any sort of place, right? The food not coming or, just any sort of road bumps you would encounter out in the world, she would quickly jump up to fix it and go talk to someone to you know what I mean? Had no qualms about that, which I think was good for me to sort of see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do want to say, I think in this case, I did exactly that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the kind of inner monologue I had.
Yeah.
But I think from Otis's perspective, I was very matter of fact, please move your hands.
And that's great.
So I can take that as a win. But God, sometimes it's just doing things, it's so exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to take a goddamn Tai Chi class.
A peaceful Tai Chi class.
Peaceful.
So speaking of So speaking of exercise cults,
Yes.
Otis and I, we went the other day. I've been wanting to check out this restaurant called Howlin' Ray's.
Yes.
Which is this, I don't know how long it's been around, probably a few years. Maybe not that long. But it's like Nashville hot chicken place that's in LA.
Hot chicken's all the rage.
All the rage. So I'm really excited to check it out. We're having a little boys' night and we go to the place and it's jumping and there's a big line that you got to wait in to get into it. So you're in a line on a sidewalk. Okay.
And is it like strip mall?
It's its own standing.
Okay.
I think there's a few locations in LA, but the one that we went to, it's its own little building. Great. But on like a regular busy street that has other shops and stores on it. So we're standing in this line, and there's probably the line outside is probably maybe like 30 people on the sidewalk.
Wow.
And we're chatting to the people behind us.
Okay.
Because one of them, this woman's like, have you guys ever been here? And she's with these two guys. I'm like, no, I haven't. And she's like, they haven't either. But she had. And so we're all talking like, what are you going to get? How hot are you going to get it? And just like that kind of a conversation. And then all of a sudden, this wave of people running comes through.
Okay.
But they all go to the outside of us, right?
Okay.
There's like instead of grass between the road and the sidewalk, there's like gravel. Mm-hmm. Most of them are running on the gravel or even, into the street. They're on the street running, right? Except for one guy.
No.
Who charges through this entire line.
No.
So aggressively.
No.
Yeah. That we're like, what the fuck? And the girl was like, what was that? And we're all just kind of like, what was that?
I know exactly what that was.
Okay, I can't wait because I definitely figured out what it was. But at first I'm like, that was fucking weird. And we're kind of joking about it and whatnot. But then,
like people were pushed to the side kind of?
Yeah, like he did.
He was navigating.
He was navigating,
but it was a choice he made.
It was this had to have been a big, big choice.
Was it like a running club?
So we finished dinner.
Uh-huh.
And then
And by the way, best chicken you've had.
Literally the best fried chicken I've ever had. It was unfucking believable how good it was.
Maybe a Michelin chef.
That's what someone in the line
Michelin
said.
Chef?
Someone in the line said something like that, but
Wow.
I haven't confirmed that.
Wow.
But it was really fucking good.
Okay.
But so anyways, afterwards we're walking back to our car and we go a different way. And we're walking and like a few doors down, there's a CrossFit place.
Oh, dirty.
And so
Are you kidding? I feel like you've been talking about CrossFit for weeks.
Yeah.
Joking.
And this is my thesis.
Okay.
I think that the location we went to is a newer location of this Howlin' Ray's.
Oh.
But I don't know if it's like a year old, 2 years old, or less, whatever. But what I think is that this is like a CrossFit guy that's been going here for a long time.
Yes.
And now this new restaurant's there.
And all these fucking people. Chicken eaters. I'm here. I'm starving, first of all. I can't eat enough because, I have gone from like 350 to 195 in the last 2 years, and I have CrossFit to thank for that. His name's Derek.
Yep.
And Derek's like, and all these fucking assholes out here who are waiting for fried food think the sidewalk belongs to them.
Exactly.
No.
And I think he runs through that crowd every fucking opportunity he gets.
And I wonder if the other CrossFitters, the ones who are on the gravel, talk about him. They're like, I don't want to go running with Derek again. Like he always does that thing where he's going through the whole crowd. Yeah. Last time there was a cute, adorable little kid that he almost knocked over. Like, what is his problem? Yeah. And you heard he's been juicing.
Listen.
He's been shooting steroids. I saw him in the men's bathroom and one of the mirrors. The many mirrors
syringe
that CrossFit has put up. Well, one of the things that I saw was, there was a syringe. And I think his roid rage.
Yeah.
He's got roid rage.
He's got roid rage and his testes are shrinking.
Yeah, and
He's upset.
Are we really going to go running with him again? Let's just do it one more time. And like, it's just a matter of time before he pushes some kid over and it turns into a thing.
I think they're on like a circuit though at CrossFit, right? I think it's like they're doing stuff, and then they go run around the block, come back, do shit, and run around the block. Like he literally might be charging through the line of people multiple times a day, multiple times a week.
Oh my God.
So much rage.
So much rage. Okay. Well, I was the person who had rage this morning since we're talking about people who suck.
Yeah.
I went to UPS. Wonderful.
Yeah. I love our UPS store.
I love our UPS store. So I'm there. I'm like getting out of my car, and this woman next to me is getting tons of stuff out of her car. And I was like, oh no, I literally have one Amazon thing.
You want
to
race to get in front of her.
But I was like, it would be rude at this. It would be so obvious that I'm like trying to charge ahead of her.
She just needs to be like, hey, do you want to head in front of me?
So she goes, no, I'm just going to have to wait. It's fine. Whatever. But she also has a box, and then she has 2 big bags. And I'm like, I don't know if the big bags there's one thing in here or if there's 10.
Yeah.
Turns out it's the latter.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting in line behind her. The guy who's checking her out is so nice. Mm-hmm. Like 2 items in to what ended up being, it could have been 12 or it could have been like 40. I don't know because this experience was so crazy. Her phone rings.
Okay.
This motherfucker answers her phone on speaker while the guy is checking her out.
Oh.
And it's not just checking her out. She's on the speaker. She has to find the code to scan for each item.
While she's talking to someone?
This experience, which was already too long, turns into the longest. I mean, I went through every stage of grief. I went through every stage of like, at first, I went through finding it hilarious to being more outraged than I have ever been in my life to a line's forming behind me. And I'm looking back at them, like looking for someone to be. And
no one's joining you on this?
Everyone ultimately joins me.
Oh, God. This is what you're describing as like porn for me. Because this gives me permission to like really say something out loud. And like, but everyone's on your side if you say something.
Yes. But I was
fuck.
I definitely did a few of the like,
Sire. You did some sire. You are sire.
Jingled my keys a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, so the other crazy thing that was going on here was the phone call was from someone, and I think it's a family member.
Okay.
Talking about how to change, like there's some issue changing her tickets, her flight tickets, international, because she bought them using miles.
Okay.
And how they're going to change it. And like a conversation that I also got so frustrated for this person because at one point he was getting annoyed with her and she was like, no, I'm just at UPS returning some stuff. And I wanted to be like, she's actually at the counter. Like she's not like in line. And
but isn't it on her to like get off the call or explain to who she's talking? She should have never taken the call, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, listen, we're on
whose side are you on? Okay.
No, what was funny was that the guy she's talking to is getting annoyed with her because she's taking the call while she's also distracted. And she kept being like, and I wanted to say to her, like, bitch, 2 things. 1, actually 3. Don't go up with 45 items when someone behind you has 1. Let that person go.
Yeah.
2, don't take a fucking call. Like, do you know how rude this is? And to have it on speaker.
The speaker is, I blow my gasket with that.
And 3, he's explained to you so clearly that the issue is that you purchased it with miles. And so it's not going to be as easy of a transfer as you were hoping. Like, she was pissing everyone off. And at the end of it, and God bless the guy checking her out. He just
Yeah.
kept his head down and did his thing.
Got to work.
But there were times where we were waiting a long time for her because she was doing 7 things at once to get the next item up and get the barcode and stuff like that. Anyway, she walked out of there and I was so ready to give her a look that I thought would shatter glass, but she knew to keep her head down and not make eye contact with a single person.
God.
I could not believe the gall. It is gall.
It's unreal. And you know what it makes me think is the phone call is egregious, no matter what.
Yes.
If she was just doing all the packages, God damn, that would be fucking annoying.
What?
And you might
fine.
be stewing about it. But then when she turned around, if she said, I'm so sorry that took so long, you would be like, oh, you're fine. Right?
No, and honestly, I wouldn't have been stewing. I was prepared for that. I was like, well, this is the way the cookie crumbled today.
God.
And it made me think the guy kept his cool so much who was working there. He must see just the dregs of humanity coming through that UPS. You know?
Yeah.
He must see the most awful behavior. And she was I could just tell the way she's pulling the stuff out. She's one of those people who just orders a ton of shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't take care of anything. It's just throwing stuff out willy-nilly and it's all probably, I don't know, not in good shape.
Yeah. I hate when you see people at the UPS store that come in with it not packed and then they find out they need to pack it or they need to pay the UPS people to pack it, but they're confused and they don't know what to do. But it'll be that much. Well, I should just pack it myself. And it's well, then just go fucking pack it yourself. And then they I've seen that scenario so many times. Where I'm
know.
Don't you know how a UPS store or the post office works?
Well, to be clear, when you take stuff from Amazon, it doesn't need
That's
to
a whole different beast.
whole different thing.
Just have
I
your
know what you're
QR
saying.
code ready and of course.
But have your QR code ready.
Please.
Please have your QR code ready. Anyway, this was fun.
It always feels nice to get a little rage off the
Yeah, you know what? We haven't had a vent episode in a while.
Damn.
I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's end on one uplifting note.
Okay.
I want you to share, you shared Helen Ray's, but I want you to share a product that you're excited about.
Okay.
And I want to share one. I recently, for our daughter's birthday, bought Trader Joe's sparkling limeade.
Oh, I didn't see that. So.
Because you weren't really there for the party. Was that when you took Otis to Helen Ray's?
Yeah, must have
been.
Have
fun. So it is so delicious and such a treat and not too sweet at all. I don't know who's in charge of bevies over there at Trader Joe's, but between that and the ginger, lemon, apple cider vinegar canned sparkling drink and this, they are crushing
That's interesting because when I used to do Totally Beverages and sometimes hot sauce, if we would ever put Trader Joe's up to the equivalent thing, they always fell flat on their face.
Really?
But maybe if they're getting some cool niche stuff.
Maybe they got a new person up there.
I mean, their snack game's been real great for a while. So it doesn't surprise me that snacky type beverages could be good.
Yes.
Okay, that's fun. Now, did you have something in mind for me? You almost said it like you knew what I was going to say.
Oh, no.
In that case, I'm going to be a hater. I'm not going to be uplifting.
Okay.
I don't really like Tate's cookies.
Oh, yeah, I do.
But I saw at Target there's a new soft baked Tates, which in my heart I knew that's wrong. But one of the reasons I don't like Tates is because I'm not a crispy chocolate chip cookie guy. But I was like, I got to get these just to try them.
Well, it was, again, the gall.
The gall to do that.
To do that when their whole thing is the crispy cookie.
Know your lane.
Know your lane.
Be confident.
And they do it very well. I love the Tates. I'm not a huge crispy cookie, but I do love theirs. It's high quality. You can taste the real butter. It's delicious. So you came home with
a box of each or a bag of each to try just because I wanted to know. And they fucking suck.
I haven't tasted a processed chocolate chip cookie that awful than the soft baked Tates. And it literally says on the package, approved by the founder.
Embarrassing. So embarrassing.
It is. And to see a brand built up. And, you know, we've watched Tates come to life in front of our very eyes. And this is one of those things, like, the founder of Tates knew what they were doing, built it up into this mega brand.
Sold it.
And then it turns out that they don't have good taste at all.
They're not even...
It was a fluke.
They're not even there. Like, and, you know, they sold it to one of the big companies.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. Because there was outrage when you noticed the size of the regular Tates got way smaller. That was infraction 1, where people were in a fucking uproar. This is probably like 5 years ago or something.
Okay.
This cookie shrank.
See, I actually think it's like, because it's thin and not too big, is kind of the perfect, like, afternoon snack cookie where you're just like...
They used to be bigger, though. Not thicker, just...
The diameter was bigger.
Yeah, but for them to now do this...
The soft bake, I mean, you said I want to go get, like, Chips Ahoy and
Chewies,
see.
yeah.
It is so disgusting. Cool. Full circle. Wow, we did it. All right. Good night.
Good night.